Picture this, right? You've literally spent months optimizing a project. You're keeping everything perfectly on schedule, and you are aggressively guarding your profit margin. And then an OSHA inspector walks the site, spots a single, entirely preventable mistake, and slaps you with a six-figure penalty. Just like that, boom, your margin is wiped out overnight. Look, as a senior EHS manager, I have seen this happen way too many times. Safety isn't just some dusty binder sitting on a shelf, it's the financial armor of your entire operation. So, welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to break down the 5 OSHA compliance mistakes that are costing companies millions right now, and I'll show you exactly how to audit your systems to stop them cold.
Take a close look at this number on the screen, $165,514. That right there is the 2026 inflation-adjusted OSHA maximum penalty for a single willful or repeat violation. And honestly, that's just the direct fine. When you factor in the indirect injury costs, lost productivity, massive overtime, insurance spikes, that drains U.S. businesses of over $1 billion every single week. To put that into perspective, corporate compliance is no longer just a box-checking exercise to avoid fines, it's absolutely crucial proactive risk management. It's about defending your bottom line just as fiercely as you protect your people.
Okay, so here is the game plan for today's explainer. We're going to start with the paperwork trap, then we'll dive into lockout/tagout errors, the heightened fall risk, hazard communication gaps, and working surfaces. And make sure you stick around, because at the end, I'm giving you a rock-solid compliance checklist to take straight back to your team. Let's get right into it.
Now, you might be thinking paperwork is pretty harmless, right? Actually, mismanaging it is a silent budget killer. I see frontline supervisors mix these two categories up all the time. A recordable incident, so think of an injury needing medical treatment beyond basic first aid, that absolutely must go on your OSHA 300 logs. But a reportable incident, like an amputation or a hospitalization, you've got to call that into OSHA immediately. If you mess this up, or if an inspector finds documented hazards that you just haven't fixed yet, you can get hit with daily failure to abate fines of over $16,000 per day. It compounds incredibly fast. Inaccurate logging isn't just some admin error, it is massive financial exposure.
So, how do we actually fix this? The very first thing is, we've got to stop relying on those old paper binders. You really need to implement dedicated safety software to digitize your OSHA 300 logs and automatically track your deadlines. By setting internal abatement SLAs, service level agreements, you essentially guarantee that once a hazard is documented, it gets closed out quickly. Modern compliance systems pull all this data out of the filing cabinet and put it right onto a dashboard where leadership can actually manage the risk. It's a real game changer.
Moving on to mistake number 2, lockout/tagout, or LOTO, errors.
Governed by OSHA 1910.14.7, one of the biggest errors I see out in the field is companies relying on a generic just lock it out policy. Legally speaking, that fails completely. You must have machine-specific procedures. So you prepare, notify the team, isolate the energy, apply the lock, and release any stored energy. But look closely at that final step, verification, testing it to ensure the machine is truly dead. This is the step that gets skipped the absolute most, usually because it feels redundant, but skipping it is exactly what leads to devastating amputations, fatalities, and some serious willful citations.
Make no mistake, lockout/tagout is firmly a high fine category. It racked up 2,177 OSHA violations in 2025 alone. OSHA actually estimates that strict LOTO compliance prevents something like 50,000 injuries a year. This really underscores the absolute necessity for world-class EHS management. It is not enough to just hand out padlocks, guys. Supervisors have to enforce these specific procedures and hold the frontline accountable every single shift.
Okay, so we've covered the hidden financial dangers of paperwork and the literal life or death risks of unmanaged hazardous energy. But there is one standard that completely towers above the rest. It triggers more inspections, more injuries, and more massive willful violations than anything else out there. Any guesses on what the #1 cited OSHA violation is for 15 years running? Think about it for a second. We're going to reveal the answer right after this short break.
Welcome back. All right, if you guessed mistake number 3, the heightened fall risk, you hit the nail on the head.
Governed by OSHA 1926.501, fall protection has been the single most cited standard for 15 consecutive years. We're talking nearly 6,000 violations in 2025 alone. Now, the absolute foundation of this standard in construction is the 6-foot rule. If a worker is on a walking or working surface with an unprotected edge that's 6 feet or more above a lower level, fall protection is mandatory. Period.
No exceptions. But supervisors naturally get complacent, right? They think, oh, he's just popping up there, it'll only take a minute. That exact mindset is what causes fatal falls and invites crippling physical and financial consequences.
The way we combat this is by using the hierarchy of controls. Think of it like your defensive playbook. The absolute best approach is elimination. Literally just doing the work on the ground if you can. Next best is passive protection, like putting up solid guardrails. And only as a last resort should we be relying on active fall arrest systems, like harnesses. But listen, just tying off to a flimsy piece of PVC pipe isn't going to save anybody. You need continuous professional development here, so your crews actually maintain their safety certifications and know how to spot a rated 5,000-pound anchor point.
Let's roll into mistake number 4, hazard communication gaps.
Hazard communication, or HAZCOM, under OSHA 1910.120 is our second most cited violation overall. And these costly gaps? They almost always pop up when new chemicals or new suppliers get introduced to the site. Here's what you need to know. The old materials safety data sheets, the MSDS, they are totally dead. OSHA has fully aligned with the Globally Harmonized System, or GHS. That means you've got to have the new 16-section Standardized Safety Data Sheet, the SDS, for literally every chemical on site. The format is totally uniform now, and it uses universal GHS pictograms so anyone can instantly spot if a chemical is flammable, toxic, or corrosive. If your binders are still full of old MSDS formats, you are actively failing an audit right now.
And guys, here is where companies just bleed money. The secondary container. Picture this. A worker pours some industrial cleaner from a 50-gallon drum into a little unmarked spray bottle. If an inspector sees that walking by, bam, that's an instant serious citation of up to $16,550. The ROI on proper HAZCOM training and just setting up a simple labeling station is incredible. It is such a highly preventable mistake that you can fix for pennies, avoiding thousands of dollars in fines.
Which brings us to mistake number 5, the walking working surfaces oversight. With the updates to General Industry 1910 Subpart D, we get so busy looking up at the high risks that we literally forget to look down. Floor holes, trip hazards, aging fixed ladders. These are all low-hanging fruit for an inspector. But I want to give you a highly practical takeaway that you can enforce immediately for ladders. Remember the 4-to-1 rule under 1926.1053? For every 4 feet of extension ladder height, the base has got to be placed exactly 1 foot away from the supporting wall. It's just simple geometry, right? But failing to apply it is exactly what causes ladders to kick out or slide, leading to catastrophic injuries. Train your crews to check this ratio every single time they set up. All right, finally, Section 6, the compliance checklist. We have covered a ton of ground in this explainer today, so let's distill all of this into a high-value action plan. Honestly, you might want to grab a screenshot of this checklist. Number 1, digitize those OSHA 300 logs using safety software so you literally never miss a reporting deadline again. 2, verify that you actually have machine-specific LOTO procedures, not just generic ones. 3, rigidly enforce the hierarchy of controls for fall protection. Always prioritize guardrails over harnesses. 4, update your chemical libraries to the proper GHS SDS format and label every single secondary container. And finally, inspect your walk-in working surfaces and drill that 4-to-1 ladder rule into your team. Software-enabled auditing makes managing this whole list absolutely seamless and actively prevents operational downtime. I really want to leave you with this thought right here. Proactive safety isn't just about avoiding OSHA fines. It's about defending your people and your profit margin. As an EHS manager, your true job is world-class risk management. By getting ahead of these 5 common mistakes, you aren't just achieving baseline compliance, you are fundamentally protecting the financial lifeblood of your company, and most importantly, ensuring every single worker goes home safe to their families. So ask yourself, if OSHA walked onto your floor right this second, which one of these 5 silent budget killers would they spot first? Comment the word audit down below to let me know you are taking action today. And hey, if you found this explainer valuable, please like, share, and subscribe to HSE Study for more high-impact safety insights. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you next time.